I want to welcome all of us to the webinar hosted by AFCA. This is a vision boarding webinar hosted by the African Council for Accreditation and Accountability, AFCA. And we are so delighted to see all of you today joining us, and we want to believe that we shall add value to each one of us as we go through the webinar today. My name is Dr. Lucy Mugenyi. I am the Member Services Manager serving at AFCA. For those who have not been at AFCA, I would want to give you a 2-minute introduction. Of course, it's a very short one, but we want to believe that after this webinar, you will get in touch with us for more information. But the African Council of Accreditation and Accountability is a Pan-African body that was registered in the year 2016. The registration was done at Nairobi, Kenya, or in Nairobi, Kenya, but the body serves the entire African continent. And so the headquarters are in Nairobi. We have a board representation from various countries of Africa, from Southern Africa, Western Africa, Francophone Africa, Eastern Africa, and so it's well composed to serve the continent. We also have a presence of AFCA representatives and country coordinators. Right now, we have reached, or we have a presence in 8 African countries, and we have a mandate of reaching out to 44 African countries. And so we are still moving, and we want to believe that we'll be able to do much, especially in the year 2025. We have various persons who are working with AFCA as assessors, and others are consultants, but all of these facilitators who come either to train for AFCA or to conduct assessments, they are Christian professionals, because AFCA is informed by the Word of God, the Bible. And so our consultants, our professionals are all professing Christians, and also people who are busy in the ministry, are well engaged and informed. So our vision as AFCA is to support and equip Africa organizations so that they are rooted on biblical standards. And so we bring about public trust in organization through accreditation, advisory, and advocacy in compliance with biblical standards. So AFCA's programs then involve accreditation, and in accreditation, we conduct assessments in the organizations where we are invited, and after the assessments, we award accreditation either at bronze level, at silver level, or at gold level. So we do accreditation for Christian organizations, churches, and even Christian-led businesses. We also do advisory, so we offer training and capacity building, and also consultancies to the body of Christ anywhere within Africa. So we are available for that, and you can reach AFCA for more information on that, and also advocacy, because we want to ensure that these principles of the Bible are also practiced in the marketplace, and so we have that space of advocacy. So in a nutshell, AFCA is doing these 3 particular programs, and we invite you to reach to our offices for more information on that. I want now to introduce our facilitator for the day. She is Alice Gigi, who is a personal growth and leadership coach expert and vision board mentor. Alice inspires individuals to be all that God created them to be. And so she supports personal growth to help people to realize and maximize their full potential. She holds a postgraduate diploma from Chartered Institute of Marketing, that is CIM, and a master's degree in leadership. She is the founder and the CEO of Alisa Coaching Limited, an organization that is committed to developing authentic business leaders through coaching. Alice is also a speaker and an author and has written a number of books. In fact, 3 books already.
I'm excited to be here because every time I hear people talking about vision board, it really excites me, because I believe that if we were to learn how to do the vision boarding, whether for our personal lives or for the business, it's going to be a lot different. And it is going to help us be able to gain the clarity that we desire. So without wasting more time, let's go straight into the presentation. So I wanted to start by asking, what exactly is vision boarding? Vision boarding, it's just creating vision boards. That is what we say. Sometimes it sounds big, but it is just that. It is just you getting to understand what it is that you want, where you want to go, and then presenting it in a way that is appealing even to the eye. And I'll be sharing a little bit about that. So when we talk about vision boarding in an organization, we are saying that it is not just a strategic process, it is also a creative process. And it is creative in the sense that you are not presenting the strategy or the vision that you have in words, as is usually the norm. But you're thinking about how can we present this, our future desire as an organization, what we want to accomplish in a pictorial form, in a visual way that people can get to understand better. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that. So it involves visually representing the company's goals or aspirations, as well as the future desires of the organization. Where does the organization want to go? And when you do this, it helps the people get to see the vision clearly. It stops being abstract. It becomes tangible. People can actually see, oh, this is what we mean. This is where we go. So it helps break that big vision into a way that people can identify with it, and it becomes very personal to people. The other thing that a vision board does for an organization is that it aligns the team. What does that mean? Many times in organizations, and we see this all the time when we go to train. I also do train on leadership. I train in sales. And a place that I love to start is asking the people what the mission and the vision of the organization is. And many times you find that people are fumbling. They are not quite sure. It's not quite clear. And when it is not clear, you can be sure that people will find it difficult to align what they do on a day-to-day basis with the vision of the organization. So when you do vision boarding, you're actually creating the visual representation of where you want to go. It helps the people see clearly how the role they hold in the organization helps the company or the organization go to the vision that they are looking at and meet also the mission that they are there for. So it helps every member of the organization align properly. We'll say more about that as we progress. As I have said, it clarifies the vision, and that is because you are now moving from what is abstract. When you tell people this is where we want to go, sometimes people interpret that differently. But when you involve them in creating the vision board, they have heard it, they have seen it, they have brought all these creative ways of presenting it visually. That helps clarify that vision. So it no longer becomes abstract. It becomes something that people can see, can identify with, and they can pick it and internalize it for themselves. So clarity is extremely important. And I say this even for individuals. When you're creating your vision board, don't just pick pictures and plug them and put them on the board. Aim at getting clarity, because clarity is what will help you connect with that true desire that you have. And when you see it and when you feel it, when you can see it very clearly, it is very easy for you to get to where you're going. Of course, it keeps everybody motivated. When you involve people in creating the vision board, there is ownership. People know that I am part of this. And as human beings, we are more given to what we have created. So when people get to create the vision board, you will not push them to do whatever they need to do, because they want to see the end result. They want to see the outcome. So having that, taken part in creating that vision through the vision boarding, it keeps them motivated, because they are really looking forward to seeing how the end result of that creation that they came up with will end in. Now, this is just part of what usually happens. Sometimes when we create a goal, you have a goal, you can see your goal there. The black line here is the desired way. Everybody would desire to move from where you are to where you want to go. But normally that doesn't happen in life. Many times we keep veering off, we keep coming back, we keep veering off, and we keep coming back. But the important thing is that when you have clarity on your goal, even when you deviate a little, you will keep coming back, and that helps you to remain focused on your goal. Now, for some people, when clarity is not there, they can veer off completely. They go off track, and they end up landing in a place where they do not want to land into. Unfortunately, this is the story of many people in the in the population. Only about 10% or less get to accomplish their goals, which means they remain on track. Whether they veered off, they revisited the vision again, and they remained on track. But majority of the people, they actually land somewhere they had not planned to go. And this being the beginning of the year, we know that a lot of people are creating their visions. A lot of organizations are doing what you're doing, coming together to say, where do we want to see ourselves at the end of this year? Or if you want to do a longer term, you can go to 3-5 years or whatever term it is. So it is usually very important that at the beginning of it, everybody is very clear, very crystal clear on where you're going, so that you do not veer off and find yourself somewhere beyond what you wanted. So what are the benefits of vision boarding? One, I have already said that it is clarity. It really brings a lot of clarity. Many times, if people are not in the organization, are not involved in creating the vision, they may just think it's for the leadership. It's for the top leadership. It's not for us. But when you involve the employees or majority of the people in the organization, then it becomes very clear for them. They understand why they are going there. They understand why it is important. So that clarity is important for people to be able to remain aligned. I have already talked about alignment. It's very interesting that you find people in the organization who are there. They come to work very religiously. But if you ask them about the vision of the organization, they may not be very clear, or the mission. Then you ask yourself, what exactly then are they doing? Are they helping you get to where you want to go? So when you do vision boarding, you eliminate that, because then everybody is clear. They understand how they plug in, and they understand how their role plays a part in helping the organization accomplish their vision. And because they have been part of it, they have been involved, they become motivated. They are inspired. As I had said earlier, because they have created this vision board, they have been part of it, they will be inspired to work hard to ensure that whatever they have created bears fruit. Everybody wants to see their creation alive. And that is what a vision board does. When you involve your team, then they become very motivated to work. And the fact that you are doing it in a very different way, it encourages creativity and innovation. You can imagine when you look at, let me read the vision that I have seen. The vision of AFCA is Africa's organizations rooted on biblical principles. You can imagine now putting that in a visual way. You can imagine the discussions that will be going on that table. People thinking, how will that look like? and they're looking for pictures that would represent that. So there is a lot of creativity that comes in, and the excitement that will come in as people are creating the vision board. And what that does is that it also enhances communication. The people are not just talking, they're not just picking pictures, they're actually discussing why this one, why not this one, what would this one mean, how can we put it in a way that everybody can understand. So it actually enhances communication, and that communication will be run also throughout the year as you doing whatever needs to be done to accomplish your vision. Now, the place to start is actually to start with coming up with a compelling vision. And how do you do that? The first thing you need to do as an organization is also to understand what are our values. What are those core values that matter to us? Because, and I say this even to individuals as they do create their vision boards, is that when you come up with a vision board that is not aligned to who you are or to your highest values, chances are you're going to struggle. It's the same case even for a company. That's why you have values. You have core values, you have a purpose. So that anything that you do, this vision that you're looking at, it has to be aligned with the values that you hold dear as an organization. It is also important to involve key stakeholders, not that they will be present when you're doing the vision board, but at least you will have listened to them. The first stakeholder you listen to is your employees. Then you have your customers. You probably have people that you partner with, but also you have the community that you're serving. So if you have a feedback mechanism that gets to take feedback, people get to say what they think about the products or the services that you offer, that will be very helpful. It will be very helpful input for you, because it will help you now know, are we really meeting our mission? Are we living true to our vision? That can only be said by the people who are outside of you or the organization, and that is the stakeholder. So involve them, let them have a say. Let this vision be something that will inspire your people. And when they come together to create that vision board, that compelling vision will inspire them. Many times organizations, and probably the not-for-profit, but for-profit organizations, many times people think it's just about the profit that they will make. But that is really not it. A lot of times you will find that even the employees who come to work there, they are more interested in the beyond the profit. What else is there? And that is the deeper meaning. People are drawn more to the meaning. So when you have a compelling vision that people can see, there is something beyond the superficial. That is what will energize the people to wake up every day to come and work, because everybody wants to know that what they do is meaningful. And that is why your compelling vision needs to inspire them. Of course, I've talked about clarity and simplicity, and I have found that your vision statement is very simple. It is clear. It's something that people can memorize. One of the greatest disappointments I get when I train is to see a vision statement that is so lengthy, that is so wordy, that even the people themselves cannot remember. That does not really help. So it helps to remain simple, to be clear, so that everybody in the organization can memorize that vision, so that they can internalize it and get to see where are we going. So clarity and simplicity is important even as you come up with your compelling vision. And it is also important to anticipate future trends in your industries, wherever you are. We are in a time when things are changing very, very fast. So you need to think about what will happen to our industry in the coming years. Before we could even plan for 20 years, I don't think anybody plans that far long today, because things are changing very, very, very fast. For example, in our industry, sales and marketing, training, there's a lot that is happening because of AI. So we need to be asking ourselves, how will AI impact our industry? What would that mean? So when you're coming up with your compelling vision, those are the things that you ask. How will the future look like for our organization? what are the things, how will technology affect us, and things like that, so that you're taking that into consideration. You will not be part of the people who will be very disrupted because you had not really thought through what would happen in the future. Now, the purpose is also very important. You need to clearly define that purpose. As I have already said, it goes beyond what is everyday's work. People want to know that the work they do is meaningful. If you're dealing with community, people want to see the change, the transformation that is happening in the community. Is our company thinking about other people? How does it relate to the community where we operate? And that will inform now the purpose and, of course, the vision that you're coming up with. It's important to make sure that you integrate that purpose into strategy so that the people in the organization can also see. We don't just talk about it, we care about it, we have it in our strategy. It is something that we do on a day-to-day basis. You also have to think about what you offer, whether they are products or services. People want to know that they are products that are sitting well with the community. You're not saying one thing and the products that you're bringing are not really living to that belief that you have. You want people to see you this way, but when you go to the market with your products or services, they are speaking something different. So the two have to be aligned. You have to align your services with your vision so that even as people purchase your services or your products, they can tell that actually this is true. When they say this is what they do, when they say they care about the environment, we can see that they're actually caring about the environment. That is what that means. We also know that many of the organizations want to create a lot of impact, but sometimes by yourself, you may not have as big, as huge an impact as you would want to have. So it pays to look for people who are like-minded like you, who are thinking in the way that you're thinking, that you can hope you can build partnerships with. Today, we no longer talk about competing, because a few years back, people were really competing. People are competing for funding, people are competing for products, people are competing for the market. But we no longer talk about competing, we talk more about collaboration, because you can achieve greater impact when you partner with people who are doing something like what you're doing. They have values like your values, so you will have a greater impact when you come together. So that is why looking at the people you can partner with is important. And also very importantly is leading by example. We know that there are people who will be leading. The people you're leading are looking at you. They want to see, how are they living this vision? Are they walking the talk, or are they just talking? Are they just telling us to do this and yet they are doing something different? So as leaders, we have to always know that the people we are leading are looking at us, and so we must lead by example. You have created that vision, you have come together, you've created the vision board. There are things that you said you will do, they must see you doing them. That way they will know that you value the vision as much as you want them to value. And because we know that it is a collaborative thing, it is teamwork, even as you come to look at how do we help the people in this organization to capture the vision that we have. Now, you can do that by doing what we have already talked about. You have engaged the employees in co-creating that vision. That way, because they have owned it, it is very easy for them then to capture it, to understand it, and to live it. Number two, you need to continuously seek feedback. Seek feedback from them, because many times they are the ones who are nearer the ground. They are on the ground. They are meeting the customers, they are meeting the consumers, they are meeting the other stakeholders, and they are hearing things. So have a mechanism that you can be seeking the feedback, and let them see that you value the feedback they bring back. When they come back with information or feedback from the market, or feedback from just the execution of the vision, and there are things that they can see, listen to them. If they notice that you don't, then it is going to be very difficult for them to really capture that vision and run with it. Communication is something that we cannot overstate, because it's one thing to have people understand this is the vision, but the way you communicate it throughout the year, you're running with this vision. It's not just at the beginning of the year that communication will be important, but communication will be important on a day-to-day basis. And of course, we cannot accomplish that vision without goals. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we set our goals that will ensure that we are keeping this vision alive? And so every goal that you make must be aligned to that vision. And one of the things that you get there is to make sure that your messaging is consistent. Whether you're communicating to the employees through your emails, through the meetings that you have, or the social media platforms, whether you're communicating to your customers, the message must be consistent. That message must always be aligned to the vision, to where you want to go, so that they are not hearing one thing and they're wondering, hey, how is that going to help us get to the vision that we want? So helping and maintaining the consistent messaging is very important. And number two, you have to make sure that the goals that you have and the objectives are also aligned to the vision. We have already created that vision board. Everybody has seen where they want to go, and they have started asking themselves how the roles they play in this organization will go. So when it comes to setting the goals, those goals must align with the vision of the organization. Decision making also must be guided by the vision. You're not making decisions based on what you're thinking today, but the people in the organization must see that every decision that you're making, they can actually tie it back to the vision. That way, you will also be helping the people to capture the vision and to live it. Employee engagement. Creating the vision board together brings the employees, and it makes them feel valued, that yeah, we can contribute something to this organization. So just bringing them during that process of vision board making helps them remain engaged. They have gained ownership. And one of the things, I don't know how many of you saw that study, it was done, I think, in 2022 by Gallup in Kenya. And that study showed that only 17% of employees are engaged at work, which means 83% are just coming in to earn a salary. They probably walk in and do their thing and wait for a salary. And one of the reasons why employees remain disengaged is because they do not feel valued. So when you involve your employees in creating the vision, you're actually engaging them. You are communicating to them that we value your input, and you matter to us. So they are likely to remain engaged. You do not want to have employees in your organization who are not engaged, who are just waiting for the pay at the end of the year, because then that becomes very costly for the organization. So a vision board helps you get the employees engaged. The other thing that you need to do, you have your goals, you have set them, they are aligning to the vision, but you need to keep reviewing them very regularly. For those of us who come from a sales background, we can actually review our sales on a day-to-day basis, because I can check whether there is a sale that I made today or not. But for something like this, a vision, daily review may not really work, but make sure also you are not taking so long so that you probably veered off and you don't know, employees veered off and you didn't know they veered off. You look for a reasonable amount of time, probably a month. You can sit and review and communicate. Where are we in terms of progress? Are we doing well? Are we not doing well? The challenge that I have seen in some organizations is that once you have created the vision, you have your goals, you then go and probably come to half year. That's when you're thinking, oh, how are we doing? It may be too late. So don't wait for so long. Keep it in a reasonable time frame so that you can review. If something is not working well, you can make corrections very quickly without wasting a lot of time. Training and development is also very important. When you create the vision board, one of the things that I recommend you do is ask at that point, how do you see us getting to this vision? Do we have what it takes to get there? That is about capacity. And if you have created an atmosphere of trust where people can speak openly and freely, and they are likely to do that at that moment, they are likely to say, yes, I think I am, but I probably feel I would need a few more skills. So it is for you at that point to ensure that you have the skills that you need that will help you actualize that vision. If you think that you need to reskill people, that is what you will need to identify at that point. You may feel like we probably don't have the skills that we need. We need to source for those skills from outside. So you make that decision at that point. But the decision comes when you're doing that vision board together and ask everybody whether they understand their role and how it will play into helping the company meet their objective or reach their vision. So that comes in very handy. You can identify the areas of training at that point. How do you ensure that the employees embrace this vision? The vision boarding helps. Everybody has already done that. They have taken part in creating this vision. So how then do you help them to embrace it? And one thing that I recommend is when they are still creating that vision board, there is a lot of excitement. Ask them about their personal goals. Where are you? What is your major goal this year? What do you want to accomplish? That way you are helping them see how they can connect their personal goals with the organizational goals. Because where there is that alignment, then you can be sure that people will put in a lot of the effort to work because everybody wants to be successful. It reminds me of this of the portion of scripture in Jeremiah 29. I think it's from about verse 5 to 7, where Jeremiah was told to tell the Israelites that they should pray for the prosperity of the city that God was taking them to. It was into captivity, but they were told to pray for the prosperity. So it's the same principle here. When people see how the prosperity of the organization will help their prosperity as well, they are likely to put in more effort, they are likely to be more committed. So help them see that personal connection with the organization's vision plus their own vision as well. It is also important to adopt storytelling. Sadly, in Africa, we were not very good in that. I know people are trying. That's why we left other people to tell our story. But it is important for us to actually tell our story. When you do the work that you do, when you live your mission and the vision, and you're seeing lives being impacted, you're having the transformation that you're looking at. If it was transformation you're looking at, pick those stories and share them. That will also encourage the employees. They will see that whatever they are doing is helpful, it is having meaning. And as I said, people want to know that the work they do is meaningful. So adopting storytelling is very important. It will help people now embrace this vision more because it's not just for them. They can see the work, the impact that it is having in the community. So adopt storytelling if you have not adopted that. Leadership must remain committed to the vision. And trust me, even the people that you lead can tell whether you are committed to the vision or not. Remember, we said whatever decisions you make, whatever actions you make, they must always be guided by the vision. So when the team sees that you are committed, the leadership is committed, they will also rally behind the leadership to ensure that the vision is being accomplished. Employees also need to be empowered. It's not enough just to have them create the vision board with you. It is also important to make sure that they have what they need to ensure that they work well. Whether it is decisions that you allow them to make the decisions within their level so that they are able to work well. It doesn't help to know that I am here as an employee. I am supposed to move from point A to point B. But before I get to point B, I have to open so many doors. That tends to discourage the employee. So see how you can empower them so that their work can be smooth. Remove the handles that can prevent them from being effective in their work. That way, they will embrace the vision. Because if they see, yes, we have created this vision, it is okay, but I still have to keep going back to someone. I can't make a simple decision. My work I can't move because of these many hurdles that are there. That tends to discourage the employees, and they will either become disengaged or they will not really give their best. So make sure that they are empowered as needs to. Of course, creating channels of open dialogue. We talked about communication. And one of the things that a vision board process does is it helps open those channels, that people are free, because you have broken the barriers at that point when you're creating the vision board, and allow the people to know that they are free to actually come and ask the questions they need to ask, give the inputs that they need to give. That helps, that people don't feel muzzled, they don't feel stifled, they know that they can come and they can be heard. One of the other things that make employees feel disengaged is they do not feel heard. So opening those channels, open dialogue, makes them feel accommodated, valued, and they feel heard. And that is important for success of your vision. Make sure that the culture of the organization is also aligned to the vision. It is okay to have a very beautiful vision, but it's the culture supporting that vision. And if the top leadership is not really thinking about the culture, you can be sure there will be no vacuum. There will be a culture that will emerge, and that culture may not necessarily be aligned to the vision. So the leadership has to be very intentional and deliberate in creating the culture that they desire, that will ensure that they accomplish the vision that they want to accomplish. Now, the people have to live the vision. How do you help them live the vision that they have created? Number one, you have to ensure that they have incorporated the vision in their daily activities. Whatever they do on a daily basis, they must see it aligned to the vision of the organization. Yes, they have come from creating the vision board. Now they have created their goals. Their daily actions or activities that they do on a day-to-day basis must align with the vision of the organization. And they must be consistent. It's not that today they are looking at their vision, their activities, they are aligned, but then they stay for another week before they go back to those actions. No, the actions must be consistent. That's the only way that you'll be able to get there. And the leadership must be visionary. You must ensure that you are consistently reminding the people of the vision of where they want to go. But as a visionary, many times visionaries can leave people behind. Ensure that you're not leaving anybody behind. As you're showing them where they need to go, make sure that you're carrying them along. Help them to live the vision. As you tell them about the vision, let them see it lived on a day-to-day basis. Of course, the choices that you make, whether at the leadership level or the employees, they must be aligned to the vision, so that everybody knows that we are not doing things that are outside of the vision. So you bring another decision, another thing that is outside the vision, people know that it is not likely to be given much thought. And that helps people know how to prioritize whatever they need to do. They have to ask themselves, is it aligned to the vision or not? And also very, very important, it is important for you to celebrate vision-driven successes. There are people who will run with the vision in the organization. There are people who will ensure that every day they are doing what it takes to live the vision. It is good to acknowledge them. It is good to celebrate them. And celebrating those small milestones is also very important for the organization. Ensure that you're not just pushing people to perform, but you're not celebrating where they are successful. I know now there are organizations that you walk into their office and you see employee of the month, employee of the year, something like that. So have like a hall of fame for the people who are actually living the vision. When the employees see that living the vision is compensated, or it's appreciated, or it's recognized, it will motivate people to actually live the vision. Of course, that will give them shared purpose. A shared purpose is very important for an organization, that everybody is pulling in the same direction. They are not people pulling differently from others. That creating the vision board together makes people feel like they have a shared purpose. And of course, mentorship is important. It's true when you come to the vision board making process and people are aligning whatever they do every day with what they need. There are some people who will need hand-holding. Not everybody will interpret that vision the way you want it to be interpreted. So that is where mentorship comes in, so that you are holding their hands. Everybody feels they have not been left behind. Now, that is all too good. And I usually say that when you're creating the vision board, the vision is in the future. There are some people who will feel intimidated by that, and especially if it's big, it is audacious. And we have to keep asking ourselves what exactly is happening. And it is good to be aware of what could hold people back right from the word go. Now, one of the things that keep people off is the fear of failure. They may not tell you when you're creating the vision board, they may be very excited. They may not tell you that they are afraid to fail. But because they are thinking this is too big, there could be consequences of failure. So what will happen? Sometimes they may become risk averse. They may not want to take a risk because they fear failing. They fear being reprimanded because they have failed. So for you as the leader, it is important for you to check and to listen to those things right from the beginning. What are they afraid of? What is the talk at the table when you're creating that board? There are others who will have fixed mindsets. They will be thinking, with the skills that I have, I cannot accomplish this. Those are people who are not open to growth, and they are very toxic in the organization. Make sure that you identify that. If you get to hear that in the organization, it's not a good thing. Help people know that they can learn a skill. You can learn a skill that will help you get to the vision, to accomplish the vision that you have. The other limiting belief is lack of trust, and I have talked about that. If they feel like the environment is not a trusting environment, they may be afraid to air their opinion or give their input because of fear of being reprimanded. Again, the open dialogue, the open communication will help us clear those kind of mistrust. There are others who will be having a scarcity mentality. They will be thinking, yes, this is where the organization wants to go, but we don't have those resources. And when they have that kind of a scarcity mentality, what is likely to happen and what you're likely to see in the organization is people competing, different departments competing for the meager resources, because to them, resources are not available, so they will be competing for the few resources that are there. That is not a good mindset. Let people know that there is resources are available for everybody. The others will be resistant to change, and that's dangerous. If you get people who keep saying, why do we have to do it this way? You probably have never created a vision board as an organization, and people are wondering, why do we have to do it that way? We have always done it this way, and it has always worked. That is a dangerous statement. If you find people holding that kind of a belief that they know how things have always been done, those are people who will not help the organization grow. So you need to address that very early before it becomes toxic for the environment. Then there is the fear of judgment. And in Africa, that is very true. It's very common because we tend to have a culture of shaming people and judging. So because of that, people fear. When you look at the skills that you have within the organization, someone may feel, I don't have what it takes, but I'm so afraid to say because I may be judged, or people may think this is not, how can you be here and you don't have these skills? So that fear of judgment is not good. So for you as a leader, it's for you to identify how that plays out. For in the organization, they may be fearing to take responsibility. They may be fearing even to volunteer in anything because they fear to fail and fear to be judged. There is also the imposter syndrome, and this is common, especially for women. They feel like they don't have what it takes, or people will think they are not qualified enough. Identify that because it's not healthy for an organization. And again, that's why we call them limiting beliefs. They are not necessarily true, There are things that we have convinced ourselves, we have told ourselves over and over again until we came to believe them to be true. So identify them because they may have a negative impact in the organization. There could also be limiting beliefs about resources. We talked about resources, and many times in organizations, when people talk about resources, they're talking about money. But it is not just about money. It should be about the people are also resources. Information is a resource. So help people know that resource is wide and it's available in abundance. There is also the fear of some people feeling invisible or perceiving themselves to be invisible. And that's not good. In an organization, there will definitely be people or a department that may be more vocal than another department. And the challenge of that is that the departments that are a bit silent, or people who are a bit silent, they may think that nobody is seeing them. So it is for you to make sure that they feel seen, they feel heard. Because if you don't do that, if you don't address that, it may have a problem. It may have a negative impact. I'm actually almost coming to the end. This should be the second last slide. So how do you overcome those limiting beliefs? Cultivate a growth mindset, especially for those who have a fixed mindset. Let people know that you can learn anything. A growth mindset says that we can learn. We are accommodating. And cultivate a culture of long life learning so that people are embracing learning. They're not afraid to try something new because they know that they can always learn. Foster a safe and trusting environment that will make people free and open to share their information or share their thoughts or share their opinions without feeling judged or feeling like they will be reprimanded if they did wrong. Promote collaboration and abundance, where there is the mentality of scarcity, where there could be competition because of that belief that there is scarcity of resources. Encourage people to collaborate, because the downside of people having a scarcity mentality is that you might see people holding information. Someone doesn't want to share information because if I share that information with that person, they might outshine me. That competition is not healthy. Encourage people to collaborate because we are here together. We have a shared purpose and we want to grow together as a team. Embrace change and innovation. For those people who feel like they do not want change, they want to do things the way they have always done it, let them know that change is the only constant. And so they should embrace it. And with it comes innovation, creativity. Help them know that we cannot be stuck in our own ways. We have to be open to learn new ways of doing things. And that is the way that a growth mindset believes. Encourage open communication so that people can be free to air their views. If they have reservations, they will be able to air their reservations, because if they don't, it's likely to end up being a limiting belief that is not going to work well for the organization. It is important to provide recognition and support those people who are doing well. Encourage them, those who have embraced the vision, they are living the vision, they are doing everything, and people can actually see they are living the vision. Recognize them, but also offer support to those who could be struggling. It's probably because they really don't understand how their roles help the organization or support the organization. So make sure that you have that support for them. In summary, what are we saying? We are saying that when you're crafting a compelling vision, it's not just a strategy, it's also an art. And you have seen it will involve people thinking, bringing their creativity, thinking, how will this look like for our organization? It is also about capturing the essence of what the organization aspires to be. Let me remove this. I think it is standing in our way. Sorry. Yeah, it should capture the essence of what a company aspires to be in the future. But it is also about inspiring others to join in the pursuit. It is not okay for you as the visionary leader to have the vision, but it is also how you inspire the people in the organization to join that pursuit. And one good way of doing that is by bringing them on board to do a vision board. So with that, I come to the end. Those are the books that I talked about. There are 3. This is an ebook. It's on Amazon. This is a physical book, but it is also available on Amazon. We are trying to put this also on Amazon. So thank you very much. We are now open. I give you back, Lucy.
Thank you so much, Alice, for those great insights. Indeed, we are learning, and I know each one of us has grasped something that is going to make our work better as we serve the Lord. I'm going to invite Noble, who is going to take us through the Q&A. I already appreciate to see a number of you have put questions under the Q&A. Noble will take over and read for us and let our facilitator respond. Thank you, Noble.
So the first 3, John Matu is asking, what's the ideal way of dealing with members of your team who are not aligned with the vision of the organization and thus seem to be having a vision in a vision? The other question, Michael Kisaila asks, can an organization change a vision because of circumstances like acts of God, issues like COVID, etc.? The third question, how do you consistently create vision ownership, especially if you have Gen Z workers who don't want to feel like employees, as they may have their own private side hustles or work 2 jobs?
The first one, I think, was talking about how do you deal with ideal do you create an ideal organization? How do you deal with members who are not aligning with the vision? The first place to start is to ask yourself, why are they not aligning with the vision? Were they clear on the vision to start with? And that is the reason why we have really labored on bringing people on board so that they can understand the vision. Number 2, if you are sure that they were boarded, they know the vision clearly, and yet still not aligning, then they may probably not be your kind. Remember, we also talked about your core values. And the reason why we start with the core values of an organization, when you're talking about an organization, is it helps also when you're recruiting your people. Was the recruitment done right? How come you have someone who is not really sold out to the vision of this organization? So for me, before I can answer that, I would want to ask a few more questions. Is this person aware of the vision? Were they taken to that vision during the recruitment and the onboarding process? And if yes, then maybe they are not the right fit for you as an organization. And it is okay. They may have come and maybe thought, this is what I want to do. But after staying there, they think, no, we are not aligning. And it is okay to part ways with that kind of a person. If on the other hand, they were not clear, because I find that quite a lot, where people imagine that because the vision statement is written, everybody understands it. It is important to ensure that everybody understands exactly what it means for this organization. Where is this organization going? Why does this organization exist? If that has not been done well, then you can't judge anyone. You need to make sure that you retrain them so that they do completely. Now, the next question was about, can you change your vision? I don't know what to say about that, whether you want to change your vision. What would that mean? I'm not sure whether we keep changing the vision, because you're going, you know where you are going. If you get there, can you change the direction? I am not really quite sure whether that's what you meant, whether you change the vision completely or get something else, because then that would mean something completely different for the organization. The other question was about, do you ensure the vision ownership? And you brought in the issue of the Gen Zs. And I would answer the way I have tackled the first question. First and foremost, were they sold out to the vision of the organization? Do they understand that vision? Had they aligned themselves to this vision? And I don't think it's just the Gen Zs who do that. We have very many people in companies working where they are not aligning with the organization. And sometimes it's not because they don't want to, it's because it was never taken. And I say this as someone who trains, and because when I go to train organizations, the first question I ask is, how did you get on, do you understand the vision of the organization? As simple as that. And many times I get people who do not even understand the vision of the organization. So if they don't understand, how then will you expect them to live that vision? That's a good question. So I would say the same thing with the first one. Find out whether the people understand the vision. I noticed my camera was off. That's why I'm trying to get it back. Yeah, so ensure that the people organization understand that vision well. They have been taken through, and that's why when we talk about vision boarding, we are saying everybody should be onboarded on this so that they understand exactly what it is that the company stands for. I think it would be very difficult for you to give all yourself all out if you really don't understand much about what the company stands for, where the company is going, and why the company exists, why the organization exists. So that's what I would say. Let you answer that question. Was that done? And again, when there is ownership, when they have understood, when there is ownership, then it becomes easier. And then you're revisiting it almost every day. Remember, we talked about consistent messaging. You're reminding them almost every day during your communication to them, through emails, through your meetings. You are talking about that vision. That helps people keep the vision alive and also see how they can connect to the vision.
The next 3 questions. Further to how you deal with those, how do you deal with those who hold strategic positions but resist change? The second question, how do you clear communication of how to do the vision board? I guess there's also other questions around that in terms of clear communication on how to do the vision board. So that one I'll hold back on that one. Someone is requesting you reshare the sample images of a good vision board. When is a good time to cast your vision and what should inform this need? I'm looking at these questions, the ones that I've read on the second part, and they are not organization related questions, but they are individual questions. And I believe most of the people that signed up also signed up to be able just to get skill and to probably work on their personal vision boards. And that is why those questions are coming there. So I don't know how you're going to answer us in line with that.
Well, I think it is easy. It's simple. It won't take long. Let me just say this because it is important for people to understand. Because if I don't understand even how to do my own personal vision board or how to cast my own personal, it's going to also be difficult to say that I will cast that for the organization. Remember, I said that there has to be that personal connection. Now, time to cast a vision anytime. The best, we are used to doing it beginning of the year. For me, when I do vision board and goal setting, I tell people it is good to do it at the end of the year so that you're beginning the year with a very clear mind. You don't have time to waste in the beginning of the year. You start it, move with the vision, but it doesn't matter. If you hadn't done it, whatever time you want to do it, sit and do it. Just make sure that you have done it. That's the last question that you asked. The one on clear communication on how to do the vision board. What I was doing here was the vision boarding for organizations, but it is not different actually from a personal vision board, because a personal vision board where we said that you start with your values of the organization, you also begin with your values as an individual. And the actual creating the vision board, it's just getting that clarity, and then asking yourself the questions: what do I want? Where do I want to go? Who am I becoming as a person? For individuals, I tell them what is the most important question to ask yourself is who you are becoming as a person, as opposed to the things that you want to do or the things that you want to have. So that becomes important. I usually facilitate Vision Board workshops, so if you want more, you can actually get in touch with me. The first question that you had asked was someone holding a position, a leadership position, but is resistant to change. That would be a very hard place to find yourself if you're a leader. If you're a leader and you're resisting change, I think you will just be stifling the growth of the organization. You'll be stifling the growth of your own team if you're leading a team. So I would encourage any leader. You cannot be the person saying that we have always done things this way. If you find someone saying that, as I had said in my presentation, that is recipe for disaster, because we cannot be stuck in the way we used to do things. Even yesterday, 2020 came and changed the way things were being done. You can imagine if we said, no, we cannot have an online meeting, then we wouldn't be here today. So we must embrace change, because change is the only constant, and we must keep asking ourselves, what next? We have to be creative. If we have to survive as organizations, we have to embrace change. So if you're a leader who is resisting change, know that then you will not survive for long. You will be overtaken by events. So if I were in your position, I would embrace change and get to learn what needs to be learned, what is there to be learned. Or have a growth mindset that you can learn, because you can actually learn. Our mind is capable of learning anything if we allow ourselves to. So that would be a very unfortunate situation, and I hope there is no leader here who is actually doing that. But if you are, just embrace change and move on. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Thank you. You answered part of it. How do you deal with, or what do you do with people who completely fail to buy into the vision? You answered that and are toxic. Now that part of toxic, I guess it's the part you also said that you just know who are your people and who are not. Those who are not your people, then you release them and they go. Then the other question was how to engage change agents. Then the final question. Yes, let me just do the final question. And the other questions that haven't been answered, kindly forward your answers to Annette through the email that sent you the joining link. We shall be answering you as AFCA in writing, or even giving a call and just making a follow-up. Now the question: I work in an organization where the vision is not clear, even to the founders themselves. This has in line affected the culture. As a team leader in the organization, how do I motivate the team? 3 blind mice.
Wow, okay.
See how they run.
Oh, that is an unfortunate situation. Start with that. There's a quote that says, I think it was by Lewis Carroll, and he says that if you don't know where you are going, then any road will take you there. Vision is about being clear on where we are going. It's about knowing this is where we want to go as an organization. So where you lack that clarity, then where will you be taking people? Where will you be going? So in that kind of a situation, I think the best thing to do is to sit and get someone who can come and help you clarify. Where do we want to see ourselves? How can we make our vision clear? Because it doesn't matter how many people will be in that organization, everybody will be doing their thing. And you can imagine if anybody comes and they're doing their thing, will you have an organization really? So it is difficult. It's not a good place. Without vision clarity, people perish. Actually, the Bible says without a vision, people perish. So it is not good to lead an organization that doesn't know where it is going. It's tragic. That is all I would say. Make whatever it takes to be clear, to gain clarity. If you're not the top leadership, you can suggest, you can recommend that it is okay. It will be good for us to really have a bit of clarity on where we are going so that we can help everybody else rally behind us. Because it will be very difficult to rally people behind you if you yourself don't understand where you're going, including the founders. I think that is tragic. I think that needs urgent action. Now, the other one was about engaging change agents. In every organization, you will find that when you come up, whether it is after a vision boarding session or it is just the normal way of doing things, you will always find people who understand something very quickly and they are eager to change. They are eager to run with the change that you're implementing. Those are the change agents that you want. If you identify them, run with them. Remember, I kept talking about recognition. Recognition is very important. When you identify people who are embracing that change that you want, and they actually talking about it, and you can see they're enthusiastic about it, recognize them, acknowledge them, and let people know that when you buy into the idea, when you buy into this change that we are talking about, you will be recognized. That is motivating. It helps motivate people. So you can identify the people that have bought into the vision. They can be your ambassadors. They can be your change masters, change agents that you can use to help sell that information to the rest of the people. So just identify them, but do not just use them without recognizing them. Recognize them, acknowledge them, and help them remain motivated to run with the change. Yeah, thank you.